Do you do anything in your homes to celebrate certain seasons of the year or certain special days, maybe special events? Here it is, Lent time, Easter time. I was just kind of wondering what you all do in your homes and different places that we all come from, and how do we really celebrate? Hi, welcome to the Catholic Corner. I'm Monsignor Walter Nolan. My guests today, and we've had them before, and this is a wonderful, wonderful time of the year for us to have our special guests. They're going to share what they do during this very sacred time of our Christian calendar to bring the blessings and the real meaning of the Lenten and Easter season into their homes and their hearts and their families and friendships. Lois Rogers is the features editor of our Trenton Diocesan newspaper, The Monitor, but she's also the author of a blog, Keeping the Feast. It's a nice name for a blog. Make sure you check it out. And Jeannie Scarpata is also the web director, the web developer for The Monitor. Jeannie also posts and updates and takes photos and for keeping the feast updated and blessed and alive. Welcome to the Catholic Corner, Lois and Jeannie.
Thanks.
So nice to have you.
Thanks.
Some of the ways that we celebrate, remind us, I guess, of this holy time. It includes what? It includes food and the traditional meals that we might have, or maybe even singing or blessings or prayers. And as you can see, Lois and Jeannie brought some samples of their own foods and their own preparation. Don't know if I can cheat here and sample something or whatever.
Sure,
but it's,
sure. Help yourself.
I will just sample this because it looks so delicious.
That's kielbasa.
But oh boy, but we'll be talking about all of this. Lois, tell me about your blog though, Keeping the Feast, and about the new developments since the last time you and Jeannie were with me.
Well, since the last time we were here, the blog won a major national award from the Catholic Press Association. We came in number 2 in the country.
That's nice. Oh boy.
Number 2 from all Catholic newspapers of blogs. So that was really a momentous thing for us. And then somehow word of the blog spread. So we're now approaching 20,000 hits. We've had 20,000 hits, which by blog standards is pretty darn good, Yep. So we also earned a WOW. We earned a WOW from WordPress, which is how do you describe it? That's the server.
The WordPress is where the blog is now hosted. And they do awards annually for the top blogs, for the number of hits and how frequently people visited it. And they like it.
Do you get a plaque or something? Or do you have to go to an awards dinner?
Well, for CPA we did. Mm-hmm. We have a nice plaque that's in the Pastoral Center. Anybody can stop by down outside the Monitor office.
It got to make you feel wonderful.
It did. We were so thrilled, really.
Now tell me, this is a holiday season in a sense, and I like the way we talked a little bit. We always talk about sacrifice. And I always like to think that it's nice to give up things, because that's what people keep thinking about, sacrifice. But the Latin word really means to make sacred, make holy. And that's what we really, really do. And I think we make holy in lots of different ways, and certainly you make holy in a beautiful, beautiful way. I know sometimes our mealtime, like I think Thanksgiving is a special time for meals, but lots of other feasts are a very special time for meals, aren't they? So maybe we can just kind of think about the special time that we're talking about, and what does it really mean that as families come together? Because I'm a real proponent of families, and I think we should get together more often and do it around food, and maybe do it around a little something that makes us joyful, and tell our stories to each other. So I thought maybe today we could talk about the traditional meals from various parts of around Easter time, and see how our thoughts go.
Well, this is a little bit of a mixture, representing a number of traditions. There's some Polish touches here, Slavic touches, Italian, and then I really would have to say, like with the ham and the asparagus, that's more or less Garden State, actually. I'd like to think of that as Garden State, close to home.
That's the New Jersey touch.
New Jersey touch. New Jersey touch. So.
Yes.
The basket is a tradition that I learned about really not that long ago in our parish, in St. Peter's Parish in Point Pleasant Beach, when I was growing up, we didn't really do this, but as more people came in from Europe, from different countries, the parish embraced this tradition. So people bring their baskets in, and it has to have very certain elements in it, very certain things that represent the Easter feast. The primary being the lamb. This is the only lamb I could find at this time, is a candy lamb, but the lamb is the central figure in the basket that has to be included.
It could be butter.
It could even be plaster.
Plaster.
But there has to be a lamb in the basket.
For the Lamb of God.
For the Lamb of God, there must be. The wine is symbolic of the blood Christ shed for us during the crucifixion, and the eggs also are symbolic of life and rebirth that comes with Easter. The bread is a Eucharistic symbol for the bread of life, so that's in every basket. And there's a bottle of vinegar, and that's for the bitter gall that Jesus was given during the crucifixion. And there's horseradish, which is one of the bitter herbs. You can use horseradish, you can use any bitter herb. That comes down from the Passover table. So that's in the basket. And then there's ham or kielbasi, whatever kind of pork, to put in the basket to symbolize the new covenant, that it's a new covenant. And I think, the salt is for hospitality. The salt is a Slavic symbol of hospitality. When you would come to somebody's house in the old days, you would actually take a piece of bread and dip it in salt. So it's a hospitable kind of thing. And that's what's in the basket.
I thought you were going to tell us that we had to become salt of the earth.
No, it's for, we have to do that too. The hospitality, salt of the earth, okay. That's
tell me, Jeannie and Lois, I know folks bring the baskets in to Easter Saturday to have them blessed, but I never knew you had to have all of these little elements in there. So this Easter Saturday, if I bless these baskets, I can look in there and say, you're missing one, or what's this doing in here?
If you want to be the Grinch, you can. Yeah, sure, you can do that.
But it's amazing how many families do come with their baskets.
They do.
And the little ones love to bring the baskets up and place them down, and we bless them with prayer. And there's some beautiful prayers at that blessing. Coming from the Old Testament and God's creation, and that all things are blessed and all parts of creation give His glory. It's really a marvelous celebration before we get into the big celebration, on Easter Saturday night, the vigil. But even at the vigil, I mean, the things you're talking about in food are really elements that are going to be happening that night, so to speak. With new baptisms and new creations, and it's a wonderful time of the year. Wonderful time of the year. Now that's and the other things on the table here. How about some of the other maybe nationalities? I know there's lots of people. Are they all different, like say Italians or from Ireland or the British Isles or Asia? Can you speak about that a little bit for us?
We have two Italian dishes. This is polenta, which is a corn grit, and then you can mix anything into it. It's a traditional Italian meal you serve at Easter, but during Lent you can have it, but it's very plain. There's no cheese, there's no seasoning in it. But for Easter,
so in a way, it's a little fasting.
It's a fasting meal. But once you get to Easter, you can put all kinds of different cheeses in it: Romano, Parmesan, olive oil, salt, pepper,
syrup, vanilla ice cream.
Actually, you can have it for breakfast as a sweet dish with honey and milk. And it's a really versatile side dish, or it could be a main dish with just gravy, red sauce on it. We also have Easter bread, which is, I remember as growing up as a kid having it on Easter Sunday. It would be part of the dessert table. And the night before, my mother would prepare it and knead it, because it takes, a while to prepare. And then
so this is a special kind of dough that you might not have other time during the year?
Right. It's a sweet bread. It's it has a little sweetness in it. So you eat it with butter And then in the middle is a hard-boiled egg. You can eat it with or without the egg. So it's very tasty. So it's like after, this whole Lenten sacrifice, you have this nice, coming in back into celebrating Easter.
So the 5 pounds you lost, you gained back 10.
You gained back right the next day.
Yeah, right back.
I remember as a youngster back where I was, I think it was on Good Friday, they had hot cross buns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, that's
So
another.
it was like a little bun with a white icing cross on
Yep.
it.
Yep.
It was
They
very
have that.
tasty.
Yeah. And in researching this, doing the research too, I found some interesting customs. The French, for instance, it's popular to tell their children because the bells don't ring. After Holy Thursday, no church bells ring in France. So they tell the kids that the bells have flown to Rome to be with the Pope. And then on Easter Sunday, when they're ringing, they tell them, well, the bells have flown back. So when you go to buy chocolate in France for Easter, it's bells, and often with wings on them. So that's their symbol. And fish, also chocolate fish. They're not giving out chocolate bunnies or lambs. They give out fish. And another interesting thing I found was that. And this turned up and really was interesting, I thought, that in African American churches, and not Catholic, they're spreading the word that the Pope who fixed the timing for Easter was Victor, who was an African Pope. And so they're asking everybody to please read up on the early history of the church and how the timing for Easter was set. So everybody has their really own customs and traditions.
Another thing about it, so it wasn't really food, but on Easter Saturday, the celebration wasn't like the vigil at night. It was very, very early in the morning, and not many people were there. But that's where they blessed the water. And I remember as a little boy, being an altar boy, they'd bless the water, and my mom would give me, and this would be like 5 in the morning or something. Maybe there'd be the priest, the altar boy, and a couple of the sisters, and I don't know if anybody else was even there. But she'd give me some bottles, empty bottles, and I'd come home filled with the Easter water. And then when we got home, she'd put some in little bottles. And then my job was to go around the city to all the family relatives.
Okay.
And I would give all of the little bottles. Now, why did I remember that, and why did I love doing that so much? Because I would go to Uncle Eddie and Aunt Grace and everybody, and I'd always get 25 cents for bringing the Easter water. So I thought Easter was a wonderful time.
Sure.
I might have gotten 30 cents if I brought some food like this, In some ways now, these traditions, that we talked about a little bit already, but in some ways these traditions are like catechesis. I mean, they really are giving us, it's like stained glass windows and food, if I can almost say that, that kind of a tradition. They give us a little lesson about our faith. Can you share some of those kind of stories about how they bring our faith alive? I mean, you mentioned a little bit about the lamb and different things. Anything else comes to your mind about how the symbolism of what we do allows us to feel our faith a little bit more?
Well, I think when you bring the symbolism into the home, it gives you the opportunity to live it and to have it present with you in a good way. And I know that for Easter, I have a fireplace mantle which really serves as the home altar, and it's so every season it takes its place in the home altar. So it takes its place. So these are the 3 crosses that are on my my home altar during Lent, and I just think that it's just something that comes into your heart and permeates the season, allows you to permeate the season and really focus on the essence of it without maybe becoming overwhelmed. It's there. It's a presence. It's a part of the season every day.
And it becomes part of your own prayer in a sense.
Yeah, part of your prayer.
Jenny, yourself, when you decorate your house, do you do anything? I know Christmas we decorate a lot.
We decorate a lot.
Easter, I don't remember my family decorating a lot, but although we used to, we used to color the eggs. That was always a ritual. And then we would hide the eggs.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, in my house, it would seem that Easter was the week of Easter, before Easter would be when the house was permanently cleaned, cleaned top to bottom, and then all the linens would be, table linens, and curtains would be changed to a brighter, happier, festive color. And then the part I used to love was, of course, Easter Sunday, where we would see all the members of the family. Like, we haven't seen it since Christmas, because we, being from a large Italian family, we'd all just get together and it would be an all-day event where everybody could share food and share stories, and it was just a wonderful time.
And all you young ladies always look so pretty on Easter when you got new little hats or whatever it all was, right? The Easter parade.
That was very special for us because my mother sewed, so she made our outfits. She did. So, every year that was really a special time. We would have our fittings, and she made coats, and it was just wonderful to wear the clothes she made.
Yeah, it probably doesn't happen as much now because everybody drives to church.
Sure.
Yeah.
But back then, we would actually walk, a couple of miles to church. So, Easter Sunday,
like
it was an Easter
pilgrimage.
parade.
Yeah.
People did get dressed up a little bit, and it was always pretty special to see those things, And the cleaning of the house, it's almost like the whole notion of what Lent is.
It is.
Right.
It's the cleansing of self and the renewal, the transformation, and so it all somehow keeps going back to the great love. Tell me, I think you have a friend, Mary?
I do. I have a friend, Mary
I was going to say, I have a couple of friends.
I do. I have a friend, Mary Tierney, who's especially gifted in creating celebrations for her 4 children. And Easter, she really outdid herself. She sews. She made a soft sculpture of Jesus, and she has all of these blocks. She had all these blocks, and she would make a tomb, like a cave, and then, with great ceremony at 3 o'clock, the family would put Jesus in the cave, and they would seal it up with the blocks, and he would be there in repose until Easter morning. And early on Easter morning, she would come and she would kick the stone away, and the kids would come down, and of course Jesus would be gone. But then throughout the next month, Jesus would appear around the house. The soft sculpture would appear around the house. So, it would be ongoing until Ascension Thursday, when Jesus would rise up. She would put a string around his waist, and he would rise up the steps, in the house. And so they would celebrate all of these things. The family would celebrate all of these things.
One of the things that when you're talking about that always is in my mind, at this time of the year especially, I guess, but when you said, they rolled the stone, and
Yep.
when the women went back, and in fact they said in the scriptures, who will roll the stone away for us? And of course the angel rolls the stone away. And I always thought how symbolic that is, that there's no longer a stone or a rock that separates either Christ from us or death from life. So often we really struggle, especially around holiday times when the loved one is gone.
Sure.
And I always like the idea that that we humanly struggle that, but he actually, the stone was rolled away. So there's no real separation, and we just have to kind of feel that love and that blessing, and that's why when you're talking about sharing the food and everything, I'm sure our traditions are all the same. It's always everybody's around the table, but there's always maybe grandpop, great-grandpop, great-grandma, whoever it is, that's gone to God, and somehow the stories kind of bring them around.
They do.
And I'm, and I'm just looking at you women. You probably kind of think of, okay, mom made it this way, and I make it this way, or grandma made it this way, and that also gets handed down.
It's a tradition.
It does. It gets passed down. Ham, you have to have a ham on Easter, and you have to do your best to make it the way Mom made it. And mashed potatoes, there were always mashed potatoes. And I'm sad to say there was always asparagus on the table.
Well, that's okay. I think that 99.9% of the whole, especially in New Jersey, they all love asparagus.
Yeah.
Well, that is so wonderful. Can Can you maybe share a story? Because I love stories. You tell me a story, you come to church, you'll hear it on Sunday probably. But is there any special stories about Easter or about maybe even the whole beautiful Holy Week and celebration? Because I think even Holy Thursday, there's something special. It's just always, it's a wonderful, beautiful time of our faith. And are there any special stories about your families or things that you kind of remember back?
Well, my dad took it very seriously. He did. So one of my favorite stories is the Good Friday. I came home and said, I'd like to go to the movies. And
Good Friday.
On Good Friday. And I got sent to my room, because that was just something that you weren't even supposed to think of. You were just supposed to, really get immersed in the sense of Good Friday. And as Jeannie said, Easter Sunday, everybody getting together. And it was a big family. It was a big Irish-Italian family gathering in Newark, and everybody converging there. We all had different parishes, but we converged at Grandma's house, and Aunt Eleanor brought the jelly donuts, which meant it was Easter. That was big jelly donuts to start the feasting with, and that was Easter.
That is, Jeannie, yourself, you're smiling there, and
Well, what I remember mostly is the same thing, all converging on grandma's house. You take that, since I grew up in Monmouth County, we would drive up to Bergen County, and it was almost like a pilgrimage going up there. But once you're there and you just walk in the house, and the aroma alone is like fills you with excitement. And then as everybody comes in, it's just, the whole day is just filled with joy and spectacular feast.
What I like too is that there were so many generations. And the boys always would go out with Grandpa and the uncles in the backyard and play baseball. That was like the start of baseball season, Easter Sunday. And all the girl cousins sat around the table and heard, family stories from Grandma and the aunties, and, so it was a really intense family
And we always
time.
sang.
Did you sing?
Yeah, my family always seemed to sing. And the kitchen was, I think we lived in the kitchen.
Everybody converged in the kitchen.
I often wonder if we even had any other rooms besides the kitchen.
That's
I
where
also remember
everybody
on
was.
Easter, I remember one Easter, I guess I was a little kid, and I loved to be outdoors all the time. And I wanted to go play, and I remember my mom saying to me, don't get dirty. And I used to look for balls down in the sewers. And I saw this ball down the sewer, and I took a little handkerchief that my mother had, and I knelt on it, and I somehow reached down and got this ball, and didn't I drop it on my pants, and I come home with this big black mark. That's why mothers go right to heaven, I think.
Yeah.
But it was always a wonderful time. And when my mother was upset that day, uncles and aunts always seemed to save you. I mean,
That's what they're there for.
Uncle Eddie said, "Oh, they used to call me boy. Boy, what happened, boy? Come on over here, boy." And I said, "Thank you, Uncle Eddie. Thank you." Can you think of any other ways of family traditions? Any other things that maybe ways families can catch the true spirit of Easter?
I just think really trying to make the most of it as what it is supposed to be, and trying to get to church for Holy Thursday, for Good Friday. I know there's one parish in our area where we live. We go every Good Friday because the kids do the Stations of the Cross, and they wear the costumes, and they're so involved, and it's so wonderful. Go to church and then come home and enjoy each other.
So we really, really, with all of the wonderful things we've been talking about, what's really, really of the essence is our prayer, our connection with God, and certainly going to church as families, and all the families get together to celebrate. It's a marvelous, marvelous time, I think, of reconciliation, joy, and feeling how much God really loves us as his sons and daughters. Now let me ask you this little question. We know that Pope John Paul is going to be beatified soon. Anything special you want to tell our folks about maybe what you could do to celebrate that?
Yes. over the past year, everywhere Pope Benedict has gone to visit, Malta, for instance, Scotland, England, Keeping the Feast has traveled with him, provided recipes, and told when you could see everything on TV, because that's so marvelous now. You can really go on pilgrimage with the Pope. It's marvelous. So we know that lots of people wanted to go to Rome for the beatification. Many are going, but many more won't be able to. We'll be back. We'll be back to tell you how to celebrate the beatification at home, how to be in Rome and stay home. So
okay, so
we'll
we're gonna be able to tap into your thoughts,
that.
etc.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Lois Needy, thank you so much. Maybe
Thank you.
we have a few seconds. I think you have a couple of pets that you like to. Do you have a couple of pets that you
I
got?
do.
You've kept.
Yes, these are rescues, bunnies that we rescued, and
So you have a bunny.
we have 2 bunnies that turned up. They were probably Easter presents and were let free, scot-free, so they're mine.
An Easter, Christmas
so
gift.
we had pictures of them, but I don't. I don't know.
Somehow.
So it's okay.
Well, Jeannie
Okay.
and Lois, thank you so very, very, very much.
Okay.
Bless you. Well, we hope and pray. Your Easter time is just gorgeous and blessed, and God's love is just penetrates your hearts and your families. Celebrate it. Celebrate it with prayer, church, and then celebrate it with family, because that's somehow there's a liturgy. After the liturgy, back to the liturgy. Bless you, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time with God's love. Thanks, Lois. Thanks, Jeannie.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
They say America's the land of opportunity. But today, 1 out of every 6 children lives without enough. That's nearly 13 million of us living below the poverty line, struggling every day just to hang on. This is America. Together, we can do so much. Will you help? Go to povertyusa.org today and get involved.